The words you speak to yourself are not just thoughts or fleeting whispers in your mind. They become the foundation upon which your entire life is built. Every day, whether consciously or unconsciously, you are telling yourself something. Sometimes it's words of encouragement, reminding yourself that you are capable, strong, and purposeful. Other times it's words of doubt, reminding yourself of past mistakes or failures. What you choose to repeat and reinforce daily eventually becomes your reality, shaping the way you see yourself, the way you react to challenges, and the way you move forward in life. It is not the external voices that carry the most weight, but the inner voice, the one you hear in silence, the one that no one else hears but you. That voice has the power to either uplift you into greatness or crush your spirit and keep you small. This is why affirmations, reminders, and intentional self-talk are so powerful. They determine whether you walk through life with hope and confidence or with fear and hesitation. When challenges come, and they always do, the strength you bring to them is not drawn from the outside world. It is drawn from the inner reservoir you have built up over time. If you have filled that reservoir with negativity, doubt, and self-hatred, then when life strikes, you will feel weak and defeated before you even begin to fight. But if you have filled it with belief, with the repeated truth that you are strong enough to handle whatever comes, then you will rise above the challenge. You will not be shaken so easily. The daily words you tell yourself become like armor, preparing you for the inevitable battles of life. Each positive statement builds another layer of strength, another shield of resilience, and another reminder that you were made for more than surrender. Consider how often people replay old conversations in their head, repeating words of criticism they once heard, or internalizing judgments from others. These words begin to echo as if they were true, creating patterns of insecurity that last for years. Yet the human mind also has the ability to rewrite those scripts. By consciously replacing those negative phrases with empowering truths, you begin to break chains that have held you down. Instead of letting the world define you, you begin to define yourself. Instead of replaying insults, you repeat affirmations. Instead of reinforcing weakness, you reinforce strength. This practice may not erase the past, but it builds a future where you are no longer trapped by it. The science of the mind even supports this principle. What you focus on grows, and the brain rewires itself around repeated thoughts and words. Affirmations are not just empty words. They create new patterns in the brain, new pathways of confidence, and new habits of resilience. Just as a muscle strengthens when exercised daily, the mind becomes stronger and more aligned with your true potential when you feed it with the right words. Telling yourself every day that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you are loved, and that you are enough begins to shift your actions, your habits, and ultimately your results. You become more aligned with the life you desire because your mind is no longer working against you but for you. There is also a spiritual dimension to this practice. Words have always been powerful, not just in personal growth, but in the deeper connection between human beings and their Creator. Words are not random. They carry energy, they carry truth, they carry identity. When you speak life over yourself, you are aligning with the truth that you were created with intention and that you are not a mistake. Each declaration becomes a reminder that you are not defined by the failures of yesterday, but by the possibilities of today. Speaking truth to yourself every morning is like planting seeds that will one day grow into a harvest of peace, joy, and strength. Think about the times in life when doubt was louder than confidence. In those moments, it wasn't circumstances alone that brought you down, but the words you allowed yourself to believe. If you told yourself you were not enough, you likely acted as if you weren't enough. If you told yourself you were going to fail, you probably approached the situation already defeated. But the reverse is equally true. When you affirm that you are strong, when you remind yourself that you are resilient, and when you choose to declare that you are equipped for what's ahead, you step into challenges with courage. Your mindset transforms the way you handle opposition. The truth is, you cannot control what others say to you, but you can absolutely control what you say to yourself. The world may tell you that you are not enough, that you are not talented, that you are unworthy of love or success, but your inner voice has the authority to silence those lies. You can tell yourself that you are more than capable, that you are chosen, and that you have everything within you to create a life of meaning. And the more you say it, the more you begin to live it. Speaking powerful words to yourself daily does not mean life will be free of pain or disappointment, but it does mean that when pain and disappointment come, you will not collapse under their weight. You will stand firm, reminding yourself of truths that carry you forward. You will learn to fight back against the negativity of the world with the strength of your own declarations. And in time, these words will no longer feel like something you are forcing yourself to believe. They will become second nature. They will be who you are. Every single day, life presents moments that test your patience, challenge your confidence, and tempt you to lose focus on who you are meant to be. These moments can come in the form of criticism, rejection, or even silence from people you expected support from. The way you respond to these moments depends greatly on the foundation you build within yourself. One of the most powerful things you can tell yourself every day is that your worth is not tied to how others see you, but to who you truly are. This affirmation protects you from the trap of comparison and the endless cycle of trying to please everyone around you. When you anchor your identity in external approval, your sense of value rises and falls with people's opinions. But when you remind yourself daily that your worth is already secure and unshakable, you break free from chains that keep so many stuck in fear and insecurity. It is easy to forget this truth because the world is full of messages that measure people by appearance, possessions, or achievements. From the moment you wake up and scroll through your phone, you are bombarded with images of people living what looks like better lives than yours. The temptation is to compare, to think you are behind, and to question whether you are enough. But telling yourself each morning that your value is not in comparison, but in authenticity changes everything. It shifts your perspective from one of lack to one of gratitude. You no longer chase after validation from strangers because you already know you are valuable regardless of applause. This mindset doesn't make challenges disappear, but it makes you resilient in the face of them. Imagine going into a day knowing that no matter what happens, nothing can reduce your worth. A setback at work doesn't define you. A relationship conflict doesn't erase your identity. A mistake doesn't label you as a failure. When you internalize the affirmation that your worth is unshakable, you begin to approach life with courage. You are no longer afraid of rejection because you know rejection does not determine your destiny. You are no longer desperate for constant praise because you know praise, while encouraging, is not the foundation of your value. This is a kind of freedom that few ever experience because too many tie their sense of self to fragile things that can disappear at any moment. When you anchor your life on this principle, something powerful begins to happen in the way you carry yourself. Your posture changes because you are no longer weighed down by insecurity. Your decisions become bolder because you no longer fear the judgment of others. Your relationships become healthier because you no longer tolerate disrespect just to be accepted. You begin to set boundaries because you understand that protecting your peace is part of honoring your worth. In every area of life, the simple yet profound truth that you are valuable apart from anyone's opinion begins to influence how you live. This affirmation also builds resilience in seasons of loneliness. Many people crumble when left alone because they equate being alone with being unworthy. But if you remind yourself daily that your worth is secure, you start to see solitude not as abandonment, but as an opportunity for growth. Instead of rushing to fill silence with noise or relationships that drain you, you can embrace the quiet and use it to strengthen yourself. It is in these moments of solitude that your inner voice becomes clearest. By consistently telling yourself that your worth is not in the hands of others, you silence the lies that come from loneliness and replace them with confidence rooted in truth. On a practical level, living this affirmation daily also influences how you handle success. Some people, when they achieve something great, are terrified of losing it because they have tied their identity to that success. The fear of failure then becomes overwhelming. But if your worth is not built on achievements, you can enjoy success without being enslaved by it. You can work hard, strive for excellence, and celebrate victories while remembering that none of it defines who you are. This perspective keeps you balanced, grounded, and unshaken no matter which way life turns. There is also a spiritual depth to this principle that cannot be overlooked. The truth that your worth is not determined by others, but by something greater is deeply liberating. It reminds you that you were created intentionally, with a purpose, and that no human opinion can override that. When you tell yourself each day that your worth comes from a higher truth, and not from fleeting approval, you are aligning with the reality that you are loved and chosen beyond what anyone else could give. This lifts the pressure of always trying to earn acceptance, because you understand you already carry it. Over time, repeating this affirmation daily builds an inner strength that becomes unshakable. People may criticize you, but their words will not wound you the same way. Situations may not go according to plan, but you will not crumble in despair. Even when the world seems against you, you will still stand because you know who you are and what you are worth. This kind of resilience is not developed overnight, but is the fruit of daily reminders, daily affirmations, and daily alignment with truth. One of the most powerful affirmations you can tell yourself every day is that you are stronger than you think. Life constantly places obstacles in front of you that make you question your ability to keep moving forward. Challenges arise at work, in relationships, in finances, or in your health, and they can feel overwhelming, almost impossible to bear. In those moments, it is natural to feel weak, to think you don't have the strength to endure. But the truth is that most people underestimate their own resilience. You carry within you a strength that only reveals itself in times of trial. And by reminding yourself daily that you are stronger than you realize, you unlock the courage to face whatever life throws at you with confidence rather than fear. When you live with the belief that your strength is limited, you unconsciously hold yourself back. You don't take risks because you assume failure will break you. You avoid challenges because you fear you won't survive them. You stay in comfort zones because you don't believe you can handle discomfort. But when you affirm daily that you are stronger than your doubts, you give yourself permission to step into growth. Strength is not built in ease. It is built when you encounter resistance and keep moving anyway. Just as muscles grow when pushed against weight, inner strength grows when life applies pressure. Telling yourself this truth reminds you that hardship is not the end of you, but the place where your hidden resilience is revealed. Think back on moments from your past when you faced something that at the time felt unbearable. Perhaps it was a betrayal, a financial loss, a health scare, or a painful goodbye. In the middle of those moments, you likely thought you wouldn't make it through. And yet here you are. The fact that you are still standing is proof of a strength you may not have even recognized at the time. That same strength is within you now, waiting to rise again whenever needed. By reminding yourself each day that you are stronger than your fears, you train your mind to look back at evidence of your resilience rather than at the voice of doubt that says you can't. This affirmation also shifts your perspective on failure. Many people are paralyzed by the thought of falling short, thinking failure means the end of their story. But when you tell yourself daily that you are strong, you approach failure differently. You see it not as a final destination, but as a temporary setback. Strength doesn't mean you never fall. It means you always rise again. When you fall and choose to get back up, you prove your resilience to yourself. And the more you rise, the stronger you realize you are. Telling yourself daily that you are stronger than you think builds the mindset that no failure has the power to destroy you, only to refine you. This principle also applies to how you face fear. Fear thrives on convincing you that you are too weak to handle what lies ahead. It whispers that the challenge will crush you, that the confrontation will break you, that the unknown will overwhelm you. But when you consistently affirm your strength, you strip fear of its power. You walk into situations not with arrogance but with confidence, knowing you have within you the ability to endure, to adapt, and to overcome. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite fear because you believe in your inner strength. By telling yourself daily that you are stronger than you think, you train yourself to step into courage more often and allow fear less room to dictate your choices. On a deeper level, this affirmation also changes the way you approach pain. Pain is an unavoidable part of life, whether it comes physically, emotionally, or mentally. Many people run from it, numb themselves to it, or let it define them. But when you remind yourself of your strength daily, you learn to face pain differently. You begin to see that pain can stretch you, but it cannot break you unless you let it. You learn to sit with discomfort without letting it control you. You learn that every painful moment you endure becomes a testimony of your resilience, a marker of growth, and a reminder that you are capable of surviving storms. Pain then becomes less of a threat and more of a teacher. Your relationships also change when you embrace this affirmation. People who believe they are weak often allow themselves to be controlled or manipulated by others. They fear that standing up for themselves will lead to rejection, and they think they won't survive without someone's approval. But when you internalize the truth of your strength, you begin to set boundaries. You refuse to tolerate disrespect because you know you can handle life even if someone walks away. You no longer cling to toxic relationships out of fear of being alone because you recognize that you have the strength to thrive on your own. This inner shift transforms not just how you see yourself, but how others treat you. People respect strength, and when you live in the awareness of your own, it naturally influences the dynamics of your interactions. Finally, this affirmation opens the door to growth because it gives you permission to dream bigger. If you believe you are weak, you will always limit your goals to what feels safe. But if you know you are strong, you allow yourself to chase visions that scare you. Strength does not guarantee that the path will be smooth, but it guarantees that you will endure whatever comes along the way. By telling yourself daily that you are stronger than you think, you train your mind to expect resilience, to anticipate endurance, and to embrace challenges with faith that you can overcome them. One of the most transformative affirmations you can repeat to yourself every single day is that your peace is in your control. Life is full of external forces constantly trying to invade your mind and disturb your calm. People may insult you, circumstances may disappoint you, expectations may go unmet, and unexpected difficulties may show up without warning. It is easy to allow your peace to be stolen by things you cannot control. But when you tell yourself every day that peace is not found outside but within, you begin to take responsibility for protecting your inner calm. This realization empowers you to stop depending on others to make you happy, because you know true peace comes from your own decisions, your own mindset, and your own heart. Peace is not the absence of problems, because life will never be free of difficulties. It is the ability to stay centered even in the middle of storms. When you affirm daily that your peace is in your control, you begin to shift the way you respond to life's pressures. Instead of panicking when things go wrong, you remind yourself that you can choose calmness. Instead of exploding with anger when someone offends you, you remind yourself that your peace is too valuable to be given away to someone else's negativity. This affirmation creates a shield between you and the chaos around you, reminding you that while you cannot control what happens, you can always control how you respond. This principle also changes the way you view toxic people. Many times, individuals allow their peace to be stolen by people who thrive on drama, manipulation, or disrespect. They give too much energy trying to explain themselves, defend themselves, or win approval from people who have no intention of respecting them. By telling yourself daily that your peace is in your control, you free yourself from the trap of seeking validation. You stop giving your energy to those who don't deserve it. You stop letting other people's actions dictate your emotional state. Instead, you learn to protect your peace by walking away, setting boundaries, and focusing on environments that nurture your well-being. This doesn't mean you ignore responsibilities or relationships, but it does mean you stop surrendering your calmness to anyone else's chaos. When you truly internalize this affirmation, stress begins to lose its grip on your life. Stress often comes from trying to control things you cannot control or worrying about outcomes that may never happen. By repeating to yourself that your peace is within your control, you remind yourself daily to release what is beyond your power. You cannot control what others think of you, but you can control how much weight you give their opinions. You cannot control the timing of every opportunity, but you can control your patience and persistence. You cannot control every obstacle, but you can control your determination to keep moving forward. This shift allows you to live with less anxiety, less overthinking, and less unnecessary pressure. Another powerful aspect of this affirmation is how it teaches you to pause. When your peace matters most to you, you no longer react impulsively to every situation. Someone might try to provoke you, but instead of snapping back, you choose silence. Circumstances might push you to panic, but instead of losing control, you take a breath and respond calmly. That pause is what protects your peace, and it is only possible when you remind yourself daily that no one can take your calm away unless you give them permission. Over time, this becomes a habit, and you find yourself less reactive, more thoughtful, and more grounded even in difficult moments. This daily reminder also gives you power over negative self-talk. Many times, the greatest thief of peace is not the outside world, but the voice inside your head. That inner critic that constantly tells you you're not good enough, that compares you to others, or that magnifies your failures, has the ability to disturb your calm more than anyone else. But when you affirm to yourself that your peace is in your hands, you begin to take authority over that inner dialogue. You refuse to let destructive thoughts dominate your mind. Instead, you replace them with words of strength, truth, and encouragement. This shift not only protects your peace, but also builds self-respect, because you are no longer at war with yourself. Peace is also deeply tied to gratitude. When you believe peace is yours to protect, you begin to focus more on what you already have rather than what is missing. Gratitude is a natural protector of peace because it redirects your mind from lack to abundance. By practicing gratitude daily, you reduce envy, comparison, and dissatisfaction, which are all sources of unrest. Instead, you create a mindset that notices blessings, appreciates small victories, and finds calm in simplicity. Telling yourself that your peace is within your control opens your eyes to the fact that gratitude is a choice you can make every day, and that choice brings deep contentment. Your relationships also transform under this mindset. People who lack control over their peace often rely too heavily on others for stability, demanding constant reassurance, or depending on others for happiness. This can create toxic cycles of neediness and disappointment. But when you affirm daily that your peace comes from within, you release others from the burden of carrying your happiness. You approach relationships from a place of wholeness instead of lack. You are less easily offended, less easily shaken, and more capable of offering calm to those around you. This makes your relationships healthier, stronger, and built on respect rather than dependency. Finally, telling yourself daily that your peace is in your control equips you to handle life's uncertainties with strength. The truth is, life will always bring challenges you didn't expect. But when peace is anchored within you, no storm can uproot it. You no longer live at the mercy of circumstances. You live with stability regardless of them. This inner calm becomes your power, and it allows you to not only survive difficulties, but to rise above them with clarity and wisdom. One of the most important affirmations you can tell yourself each day is that you are stronger than your struggles. Life, by its very nature, will confront you with difficulties, setbacks, disappointments, and moments of uncertainty. These challenges can appear in many forms: financial hardship, broken relationships, professional failures, personal insecurities, or health battles. In those moments, it is natural to feel overwhelmed, to think you are not capable of handling the weight of what is happening. Yet, when you repeat to yourself daily that you are stronger than your struggles, you reframe the way you see adversity. Instead of looking at struggles as something that crushes you, you begin to see them as opportunities to prove your strength, resilience, and endurance. Every difficulty carries within it a test, and every test reveals a hidden part of your strength. When you tell yourself you are stronger than your struggles, you affirm that the challenge is not greater than your ability to overcome it. History has shown again and again that people often don't realize how strong they are until strength is the only choice they have. The struggles you face do not define you, your response to them does. By embracing this mindset, you stop running away from your struggles or wishing they didn't exist, and you start confronting them with courage. You realize that your strength grows not in the absence of problems, but in the process of rising above them. There is a simple truth: struggle is inevitable, but defeat is optional. When difficulties come, most people immediately think they are powerless. They dwell on the problem, magnify it in their minds, and tell themselves it's too much to handle. This cycle of negative thinking weakens their ability to act. But when you choose to affirm that you are stronger than your struggles, you cut through that negativity and remind yourself that there is always something you can do. No matter how dark the situation appears, there is always a way forward, and strength is the light that guides you there. Even if you cannot solve everything instantly, strength gives you the endurance to keep going one step at a time. This affirmation also helps you reframe pain. Many people fear struggle because they associate it only with suffering. But in truth, struggle is often the soil in which growth takes root. Muscles only grow when they are put under pressure. Diamonds are only formed through intense heat and pressure. Trees develop the deepest roots when they withstand sandstorms. Likewise, your inner strength is revealed and built in the very moments you feel like giving up. By reminding yourself daily that you are stronger than your struggles, you turn your perspective around. You begin to see challenges not as enemies but as trainers, not as obstacles but as stepping stones toward becoming a stronger, wiser, more capable version of yourself. Another powerful outcome of this mindset is that it destroys the victim mentality. When you constantly see yourself as a victim of your circumstances, you strip yourself of power. You feel like life is something happening to you, rather than something you can shape. But when you affirm that you are stronger than your struggles, you take back your power. You no longer focus on what has been taken from you, but on what you still have and what you can still do. You shift from asking, "Why me?" to declaring, "Try me." This shift is not about denying the pain or pretending struggles aren't real. It is about refusing to let them define your identity. You are not your struggles. You are the strength that rises above them. This affirmation also builds confidence in your future. One of the most paralyzing effects of struggle is the fear that it will never end or that you cannot survive it. Fear whispers that this is the end for you, that you will not recover, that you don't have what it takes. But when you tell yourself daily that you are stronger than your struggles, you silence fear and feed faith. You remind yourself that you have already survived so much in the past, and you will overcome what is before you now. Every time you face a challenge and come out stronger, you build evidence for your future that you can overcome again. Struggles may change, but your strength is constant, and it grows with every battle you fight. This perspective also encourages perseverance. It is easy to give up when challenges persist longer than expected. Many people quit not because the battle was unwinnable, but because they convinced themselves they weren't strong enough to continue. By affirming daily that you are stronger than your struggles, you remind yourself to keep going, even when progress feels slow. Strength is not always about grand victories. Sometimes it is simply the decision to not quit today, to take one more step, to keep showing up. This small act of resilience, repeated day after day, eventually leads to breakthrough. Equally important is the emotional stability this affirmation provides. Struggles can create waves of anxiety, anger, and despair. But when you choose to remind yourself that your strength outweighs your struggles, you develop emotional discipline. Instead of letting challenges drain you mentally, you use them as fuel to strengthen your resolve. You learn to pause, breathe, and respond with clarity instead of reacting in panic. This emotional balance not only helps you endure struggles, but also allows you to make wiser decisions in the middle of them, which often leads to quicker solutions. Finally, affirming that you are stronger than your struggles inspires others. Strength is contagious. When people around you see that you refuse to be broken by hardship, they are motivated to rise above their own struggles as well. Your resilience becomes a testimony that strength is possible, that victory is achievable, and that no challenge has the power to define a person's destiny unless they allow it. By living this truth, you not only transform your own life, but also give others permission to believe in their own strength. One of the most transformative affirmations you can tell yourself daily is that every day is a new beginning. This is not just a comforting phrase, it is a mindset that changes the way you approach life challenges and personal growth. Too often people carry yesterday's mistakes, regrets, or failures into today, allowing the weight of the past to shape their future. They live imprisoned by what they cannot change instead of recognizing the freedom that comes with a new dawn. When you begin to remind yourself each morning that today is a fresh start, you release yourself from the burden of yesterday and open your heart and mind to new opportunities. Life itself is structured around cycles. Night gives way to morning, storms clear into sunshine, and seasons change. Every cycle reflects the truth that nothing is permanent, and each ending holds the possibility of a new beginning. When you truly internalize the idea of new beginnings, you stop allowing your past to define your identity. Many people feel trapped because they think their failures have disqualified them from living a meaningful life. They carry labels from past experiences, broken, unworthy, incapable, and wear them like permanent scars. But telling yourself that every day is a new beginning reminds you that those scars don't define you. They only prove that you survived. The mistakes of yesterday are lessons, not life sentences. They are stepping stones for growth, not anchors to hold you back. By embracing the mindset of fresh beginnings, you reclaim your power to redefine who you are at any given moment. This affirmation also ignites hope. Hope is one of the most powerful forces in life, and without it, people quickly lose the will to keep going. When you remind yourself that every day is a new beginning, you cultivate a spirit of hope that tells you things can change for the better. No matter how difficult yesterday was, today holds the chance to try again. Hope motivates you to rise from disappointment, to pursue dreams again after failure, and to believe that a brighter future is possible even if you cannot yet see it. It keeps you moving forward when everything else tells you to stop. Another important aspect of seeing each day as a new beginning is the ability to practice forgiveness, both toward yourself and toward others. Many people remain trapped in cycles of anger, guilt, and shame because they replay old mistakes over and over in their minds. They think about what they should have done differently, what someone else did to them, or how unfair life has been. Carrying this weight prevents them from embracing the new opportunities in front of them. But when you begin to believe that every day is a new beginning, you make peace with the past. You forgive yourself for your shortcomings because you recognize that you are not the same person you were yesterday. You are always growing. You forgive others because you refuse to let their actions continue to poison your present. Forgiveness becomes a natural outcome of understanding that life constantly offers fresh starts. Living with the mindset of daily new beginnings also fuels courage. Fear often holds people back from stepping into the unknown, trying something different, or chasing their dreams. Fear whispers that failure will ruin them, that mistakes will be final, and that risk is too dangerous. But when you remind yourself each morning that today is a new beginning, you realize failure is never final. Each setback is simply part of the journey, and tomorrow offers another chance to try again. This mindset breaks the chains of perfectionism and allows you to embrace boldness. It frees you to take risks, knowing that even if things don't work out as planned, you can begin again tomorrow. This perspective also helps you appreciate the present moment more deeply. Too many people waste their lives either dwelling on the past or anxiously worrying about the future. In doing so, They miss the beauty of the present, which is where life actually happens. When you wake up and remind yourself that today is a new beginning, you are encouraged to fully experience today for what it is. You stop letting yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's uncertainties steal the joy that today has to offer. You recognize that this very moment is a gift, and you can shape it however you choose. This simple awareness fosters gratitude, peace, and mindfulness in daily living. Another powerful outcome of believing in daily new beginnings is resilience. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable. But people who embrace fresh starts recover faster because they do not dwell endlessly on what went wrong. They acknowledge the pain, learn the lesson, and begin again. They refuse to stay stuck because they know that each day brings new opportunities to build, create, and grow. This resilience doesn't mean they avoid challenges or never feel discouraged. It means they refuse to let challenges define the rest of their story. They write new chapters each morning. Finally, seeing every day as a new beginning opens the door to consistent personal growth. Growth is not about making one massive leap, but about taking small steps consistently over time. Each day becomes a chance to improve, to practice discipline, to build character, and to get closer to your goals. You no longer feel pressured to be perfect immediately because you understand that progress happens daily. If you fall short today, you wake up tomorrow with the chance to do better. This mindset shifts the focus from perfection to persistence, which is the true key to transformation.